Hey guys, it's Tealus here. Welcome back to Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire, the beta test that's going on. I'm here to bring you one of the elite specializations that I've been most excited about, and that is the Elementalist's elite specialization, the Weaver. This elite specialization intrigued me the most out of every elite specialization that was announced, so I'm really excited to show it to you here. Now, I have to admit, this is going to be rather long, so I believe I'm going to separate it into two videos. And the first video will go over the talent tree as normal, the utility skills, and the new weapon abilities. And then the second video will go into all of the extra new weapon abilities. You'll understand a little bit more as we begin to explain what the Weaver actually does, but there is a lot to go through with the Weaver, so let's go ahead and get started right away. In the talent tree, first you can see we have the Weaver here. You are given sword proficiency, so you are allowed to wield a sword in your main hand, and that is what basically the new weapon that is given to Weavers, should they choose this elite specialization. And then here is the first ability. It's called Weaver. Your active attunement is now applied to your main hand, with the old attunement moving to your offhand. Attunement recharges are reduced. Gain access to dual attack and the stance utility types. So, dual attack, I believe, refers to spells that basically have both attunements tied to them. Just to give you an example, I will go ahead and attune to water here. And as you can see, I'm attuned to both water and fire, and it created a new ability in my third slot. Now, if I want to be full fire attunement, you go back to clicking on fire, and fire will become your main hand, and then you click on fire again, and fire will become your offhand. As you can see, this bar below will show which one is your main hand and which one is your offhand. So if I click on water, water becomes my main hand. If I want water to become my offhand, then I have to click water again. So that is how it's going to work, and that is basically what weaving is all about, is you're going to be able to weave using all of these different stances and changing your abilities up. So in this video, I will be focusing on just the pure attunement weapon skills. And then the next video, we will look at the dual weapon skills for all of the different attunements, for not just the sword, but all of the other main hand weapons, the dagger, the scepter, and even the staff. So there's a lot to go through, so let's go ahead and move on through the talent tree. The first ability here is, the first talent here is Superior Elements. Dual attack. Skills weaken enemies. Deal increased damage to weakened foes. Just so you guys have an idea, as you can see right here, the dual attacks are all mentioned right here. You can see just how many of them there are. This is for the dagger, the 6 different dual attacks for the dagger. Down here, the scepter, you see the 6 different dual attacks for the scepter. And then you see the 6 different dual attacks for the staff. There are 6 different dual attacks for the trident, but I am not going to go into the trident. So we are dealing with the dual attacks for just going to be the dual attacks for the sword, the dagger, the scepter, and the staff. We will deal with these dual attacks, and that is it. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and continue through this. So, dual attack skills weaken enemies, deal increased damage to weakened foes. The second ability here is Elemental Pursuit. Gain super speed when inflicting inhibiting conditions on enemies. So that is immobilized, chilled, or crippled, and you gain super speed for that. And then the third is Master's Fortitude. Gain increased vitality when wielding a sword. Gain bonus vitality based on a portion of your power and condition damage. So as you can see right there, vitality 100 plus 120, and then bonus vitality 5% of both condition damage and power. Your second ability here is Elemental Refreshment. Gain barrier when using dual attack abilities. Once again, those middle cross attunement abilities. In the second tree here, we have a Weaver's Prowess. Gain increased condition damage and duration for a period of time after attuning to a different element. Pretty simple, and that means when you're attuning to a different element, that doesn't mean that you have to be fully attuned to like water or fully attuned to earth. That means you could be like fire earth or fire lightning, just as long as you've recently switched elements. Swift Revenge gains swiftness when using a dual attack, deals extra damage to enemies while under the effects of swiftness or super speed. And the third here is Bolster Elements, gain stability when activating a stance. Stance is the new utility skills that you have available to you. So, gain stability when activating a stance. Activate Lesser Stone Resonance when struck below the health threshold. And as you can see above, Lesser Stone Resonance is a stance that we will talk about soon enough. It is down here, so we'll talk about that when we get to the utility skills. But you do have a talent that automatically activates that for you if you drop below 50% health. The third ability right here is Elemental Polyphony. I hope I pronounced that right. Gain attributes based on your current attunement. When dual attuned, gain both benefits. So fire, 120 power, healing power, precision, and toughness. And if you're fire water, that means you gain 120 power and 120 healing power. Now, I'm not quite sure whether or not that applies to... excuse me, it says it right there. When dual attuned. So it's only when you're dual attuned. So as you can see, I dual attune right there. It does not show it on the actual bars, but when you're dual attuned, you will gain those abilities. So not when you're single attuned to just a single ability. So take note of that. So with that being said, we move into the final ability tree right here as I get back into Fire Stance. We have Elements of Rage. Gain a damage bonus for a period of time when attuned to a single element. Gain ferocity based on the percentage of your power. And it's 10% damage. That's Elements of Rage, and the ferocity based on the percentage of power is 14%. Second one here is Unravel Hexes. Lose conditions at a rapid rate while under the effects of super speed. Gain super speed when you are inflicted with inhibiting conditions. So anytime you are immobilized, crippled, or chilled, you gain super speed for 3 seconds. The interval is half a second. The cooldown is 15 seconds on that. So do take note of that. It is a longer cooldown. But it's a pretty nice ability to have for you. The third is Invigorating Strikes. Gain vigor when using a dual attack. Dodge rolling creates a barrier. Barrier is something that's a little bit different in this game. Something kind of new, at least that I haven't seen recently. And when we actually look at Stone Resonance, you will see a barrier in action and what it looks like on the health bar. So that is for the talent tree. The talent tree is actually pretty simple. It's when we start getting to the weaving that things become more complex. So let's go ahead and look at the utility skills. First, our healing skills, which is Aquatic Stance. We have stances. And as you can see, we have 2 charges of each of those. I'm sorry, I did not look at other classes to see if whether or not this is a global change, for like warrior stances or whatever, or if this is just an elementalist only specific change. You guys are welcome to post that in the comments below. I apologize, I did not see that, but for the Elementalist, you have 2 charges, and you have a count recharge on them. So, Aquatic Stance. Striking a foe causes water to erupt from them, healing nearby allies. So, let's go ahead and start heading down below so we can start showing some of this off. And we'll just use this light target dummy on the left-hand side here. And we'll go ahead and use this stance here. We are in the stance. So as you can see right there, there was the heal. Right there, you saw it twice. It's pretty potent. We'll go ahead and use it again right here, because I have 2 of them. See that AoE heal there? That's pretty awesome. So that is the Aquatic Stance. The Stone Resonance. Enter an earthen state, gaining barrier periodically over the course of the stance. So the barrier is going to appear on the health bar here, and it'll kind of like decrease the health bar, it's a little awkward, but you'll understand once you see it. So we'll go ahead and use it right now. There's the barrier. As you can see, the barrier increases. 2600, 3200, you can see the number here, and then the barrier begins to decrease. So if someone were to attack you, first it would start filling up your health bar till the barrier goes away, and then your health bar would then begin going down the other direction. So that is how they're showing barriers in the game. The third ability here is called Primordial Stance. Channel the prime elements at their core, dealing damage based on the current attunements. Fully attuning deals the same condition twice. So basically burning, chilled, vulnerability, 8 stacks or 2 stacks of bleeding, depending on which stacks you have. So if you're double earth attuned, you will put 4 stacks of bleeding. If you're double air attuned, you'll put 16 stacks of vulnerability. I checked before this video. If you have chilled, if you are double stacked with water attunement, it doubles the chilled duration from 1.25 to 2.5 seconds. So, and it builds up pretty quickly. I'll go ahead and use it here just so you guys can see, because when you don't have it double attuned, it doesn't actually build up very quickly. So as you can see right here, it pulses out. And as you can see, he's got 9 seconds of chilled on him, which is pretty good. By the way, I believe the fire that you just saw actually came from the Guardian. It had nothing to do with me. So that is Primordial Stance. I will go ahead and use it in Fire Stance here, or we'll just use it in the Dual Stance here so you can see what it looks like with having both. Use it once again. There you go. You get the burning and the chill. It pulses out, and he died because he just took too much. So the third ability here is called Unravel. This is, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, this is going to be for the really skilled players. It's a stance. For a period of time, you forego your Weaver training, choosing to fully tune to elements instead. So right now, I'm fire and water. I use this. I immediately go to fire. I can switch to water real quick, and it's already up. So basically, it's good for about 1 full stance change. So you can use this, you can use Unravel, you can quickly switch to a full fire attunement instead of having to switch to fire and then wait for the cooldown to come up and then switch to fire again. So that's kind of the quick way to get things, to get in the direction that you need to go. The last ability here is right here, Twist of Fate. Break, stun, and spin to briefly evade attacks. So we'll go ahead and use this here so you can see. As you can see there, I spin like a little ballerina. And that's it. Pretty simplistic stance. It gives you super speed. I love super speed. It's one of my favorite abilities, conditions, or boons to have, so I absolutely love it. So, that's all of the utility skills. All that's left is the elite utility skill, which is called Weave Self. Temporarily reduce the recharge time of attunements while gaining bonuses for attuning to new elements. Successfully attuning to all elements ends this stance and grants perfect weave. So, if you've woven to fire, you get 20% condition damage. If you've woven to water, you get 20% boon duration, 20% outgoing heal effectiveness. If you've woven to air, 50% movement speed. And if you've woven to earth, 320 toughness. Okay? Now, if you have done all of this, you get perfect weave, which means all of those last for 10 seconds. So, I'm going to use this here. I'm going to attune to all of them right now so you can see. And then also at the very end, I'm going to use Tailored Victory, which is at the very end, you can release all of your woven elements at the end of your weave self stance, causing gravity itself to unravel around you. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see everything, and then we'll go ahead and use this. So I'm going to start by using weave self, and I'm already in fire, so I move to water, I get water. I move to air, and I get air, and then I move to earth, and I get earth, and as you can see, it now is Tailored Victory, and so now I can go ahead and use it to lift these guys up in the air. That's so cool. I really am excited about that ability. So, I'm really impressed with that ability and really excited for it, so that is something that's really cool. As a person who wasn't too excited with shouts from the Tempest, I'm super excited for what the stances bring for weaving for the Elementalist, the Weaver. So with that, let's go ahead and move to fire here. I'm going to be abusing this unravel here so I can quickly show you stuff. And I will show you these abilities. So the first one is, this is for your sword abilities, and these are going to be the pure sword abilities. So for your first one, you have Fire Strike. Build elemental flames in your sword and strike your enemies. Deals damage. Fire Swipe. Heat your sword a second time to strike your enemies for increased damage. More damage. Wonderful. And then Searing Slash. Heat your sword a final time and use the full power of your flames to sear enemies and ignite them. So let's go ahead and use that. As you can see the combo chain here, I have like a flaming sword. Pretty cool. And that is the end of it. The second one is Flame Uprising. Jump forward and deliver a fiery blast to the area. So, initial damage 771, field damage is a little bit less, and then there's burning on it, and it can hit 5 targets. So we'll go ahead and use it right here. Let's see, let me make sure the range isn't too far. Yeah, it's 450, we should be okay. And there we go. It's a burst and a big flaming area around it, so that's pretty cool. The third ability is Cauterizing Strike. Stab your foe with full force, dealing bonus damage against burning enemies. So I'm going to go ahead and burn them with this, and then we're going to use Cauterizing Strike. So 1, 2, 3, there's the burn, and then there's the Cauterizing Strike. It's just a straight stab to the heart. It's like a lunge. I'll use it one more time just so that you guys can see it. I apologize if my voice is starting to die on me. I feel like it is. So we'll go ahead and use it one more time. There we go. There's the lunge. And then death follows. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and switch into water so we can take a look at this. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Psych? We'll just say that. Psych! Imbue your blade with water, healing yourself for each target you strike. So it's a healing mechanism. Clapotis. I'm butchering these names. Deliver a second strike that heals yourself for each target it hits. And then Breaking Wave. Strike your enemies and unleash a wave that heals allies. So that's going to be more of a targeted AoE heal. So we'll go ahead and use it here. Functions, I guess you could say, a little bit like the first one, in that you got your third one's more of a burst as opposed to just a single target. So lots of healing there. And by the way, that poison, I believe, came from the Guardian over there. I'm not quite sure. That's not my poison that was applied. So the second ability here is Riptide. Use the element of the water to propel yourself backward and regenerate, leaving a healing area at your location. So I'm just going to show this here, and there we go. I do a little spin water dance, and then there is the healing area at the end. And then the third one is Aqua Siphon. Strike an enemy and draw water from them, causing them to deliver a healing burst to your allies. This is actually kind of cool. So we're going to use it here. It's into the lunge, and then you saw that kind of vortex outwards. That is basically the heal that goes to all your allies. So there's my escape, my normal attack, and then we'll show you one more time the Aqua Siphon. There it is, right there. So, with that, let's move into Air Attunement. And I should have killed him off. We will go in and kill him. First one is called Charge Strike, which is dealing damage. Basic damage, as all of these are, basically. So you have Charge Strike. Strike your foe with a shocking force. Target 3 targets. Deliver a second strike, gaining swiftness. 2 seconds on swiftness, and then deliver the final attack, calling lightning strikes onto enemies. Primary strike damage, and then lightning strike damage, maximum impacts 3, number of targets 3. So, charge strike, polaric strike, and then call lightning. So we'll go ahead and use this here, as we can see right here. As you can see, the little lightning strike happens right there. The area of effect for this cleave is pretty short, so unless these golems are much closer together, you're not going to see much, and I do not want to go over to where all the AoE golems are because that becomes a huge mess. Polaric Leap. Shadow step to your target and deliver a dazing strike. Gain super speed if you interrupt the enemies. So we'll go ahead and use this now. As you can see, I jumped really quickly there. 450 and it's elite finisher, so that's pretty nice. Third ability here is Quantum Strike. Strike your foe, charging them with static and causing lightning to strike repeatedly for a short period of time. So once he's up, we'll go ahead and use it again. Once again, it's a lunge. As you can see, the purple lightning going all over the place, which is really cool. As you can see, these three abilities all are kind of the same in terms of their targeting features, and that's mostly because there are so many new weapon abilities that are being added for a Weaver in this expansion. So, we're moving on to the last weapon skill for a Weaver, at least in this video, which is going to be Earth Attunement. Now we have Crystal Slash, strike your opponent with a serrated blade, causing damage and bleeding. Attack enemies with a second vicious attack, causing damage and bleeding. And then that's Crystalline Strike. And then Crystalline Sunder, unleash a final crushing blow, dealing damage, bleeding, and crippling them. So go ahead and use this right here. As you can see, the Earth Attunement is really noticeable, which is really cool. So that's that. The second ability is Earthen Vortex, burrow into the ground and then erupt with earth-shattering force. That just sounds cool. So as soon as he's up again, we will do this. There we go. Jump down, jump back up, and it kind of leaves a goop trail, kind of like the, I think it's some of the ranger traps, I believe. Yeah, I believe it's very much like the muddy trap that a ranger has. So, the third ability is Rust Frenzy. Strike your enemies with deadly force 8 times. Lots of bleeding. Go ahead and use it right here. And there you go. Lots of strikes all over the place. We'll use number 2 ability again, just again, so you can see it. Pretty cool abilities that you have as a sword in your main hand. Now, that is just the main hand pure elemental abilities. In the next video, I will go through the sword, the dagger, the scepter, and the staff. I will skip the trident. And we will take a look at what all of their special, third ability, their dual strike abilities are for each of their, for each of them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The Weaver, of all the ones I was excited for, the Weaver did not disappoint. Some disappointed, some I was surprised with, but the Weaver did not disappoint. I'm really excited for this, and I hope you guys really are excited for the Weaver as well. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for dealing with my voice that is slowly dying with me as I go through this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Tearless out.